All right, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 July edition of 15 Minutes to BIM. I'm your host, Karen Pierce, Senior BIM Specialist here at UNIFI. UNIFI Labs is the global leader in cloud-based BIM content and data management. Our essential data platform delivers a better BIM experience by helping users navigate the dark BIM. Now, I've worked with Revit for about the last 10 years or so, and there's been a lot of lessons learned. I've worked as a designer, coordinator, BIM manager, and over the last several years, I've been using that experience to implement software and act as a consultant on best practices. At UNIFI, I help to ensure you make the most out of our suite of products. While each firm has unique workflows, many firms are sharing the struggle with organizing and optimizing the use of their BIM content. I love questions, so as always, please feel free to use the Q&A tool. Scott Scheipel, our Senior Manager of Customer Success, will be assisting me fielding all questions following the presentation. Are you tired of having multiple types of families load into your Revit model, requiring you to possibly constantly purge all the time, and maybe wanting to clear those unwanted items? And what if you could just select the family and type you needed from a list before opening? That's exactly what type catalogs are all about. Because the good news is that you can, and it's carried out by creating and using those type catalogs for your Revit families. Now, Autodesk Revit already uses type catalogs by default on families such as detail components, structural framing, and columns. You can see that a little bit here. And by exploring the out-of-the-box US Imperial Library, you can see these text files shown right next to the Revit RFA files. Note how they do have to be named the same. This is actually a requirement, and they also must be stored in the same folder directory. Now, type catalogs are definitely nothing new to Revit, but if you've ever seen something that looks like the image here when trying to load a Revit family, you're at least aware of their existence. Our discussion today will dig into how Revit and UNIFI work with type catalogs, some best practices, and also some things to be on the lookout for. Now, UNIFI fully supports type catalogs, of course, and families with type catalogs associated with them are shown by a TC identifier in the bottom right-hand corner of the preview image. UNIFI's versioning capabilities for Revit families have also long supported the ability, of course, to have multiple base file years for Revit, but it was actually our 3.9 release that accommodated a units change made by Autodesk for families specifically in 2021. Autodesk change actually broke a number of type catalogs for our Revit customers. So with this update, we provided not only the ability to support multiple family base years, but multiple type catalogs for those files as well. Now let's dig into it, because maybe you're not aware of the 2021 type catalog issue. What we saw is that some users have experienced issues loading the type catalogs for families. This was specifically in Revit 2021. When loading the family, a blank type catalog would appear like this image shows, but these families would seem to work well in other versions of Revit. And what we found is that Revit reads the text file for the type catalog differently. So the top row here is what a type catalog file looked like prior to 2021. In comparison to that, you see the type catalog at the bottom. What we see is that there's no blank line below the headings. Thanks, Autodesk. And what we simply found, of course, is by deleting this blank line from the original catalog file, we then reload that type catalog into Revit's 2021 version, and then our families work fine. And here's a fun fact actually for something that hopefully will take the edge off the possibility that you're going to have to update all of your type catalogs. The change that our latest release required is actually programmed into it. So while it would appear that this family has not been updated to accommodate the 2021 type catalog change manually, since UNIFI automatically upgrades all families to the cloud, we've gone ahead and also updated the formatting to automatically remove that pesky extra line from the type catalog. See, no blank table. Now, I got ahead of myself a little earlier. I showed you how RFAs are associated with type catalogs in UNIFI, but I didn't really show you how to upload these types of families to begin with. So here's a quick video showing you how I'm uploading a single family to UNIFI with an associated type catalog. Take note how I only drag the Revit family into the interface, yet my type catalog is, quote, cataloged properly, meaning named and stored in the same folder directory. UNIFI automatically grabbed the associated type catalog, and I verify that by seeing the purple TC icon. Now, UNIFI, of course, will also allow you to batch upload multiple families at once. And here I'll show you what that looks like with a folder full of families with their type catalogs. Now, I backed up because I like to grab an entire folder as I'm loading it into UNIFI, but you can quickly see how the 3 RFAs within the folder populate, but where are my text files? UNIFI has seen these text files are associated to the families much like before, and to avoid clutter in my library has simply associated the type catalog automatically. Of course, note how the type catalog is seen with that purple TC icon. Now, of course, content isn't static. Whether it's Autodesk that forces an update as we saw a few minutes ago, or changing parameters and standards on your end, content updates are often required. So what's the best way to update Revit families with type catalogs? Here I'm going to use the Actions tab in UNIFI to open the family in the Family Editor. Now, full disclosure here, this is a less than ideal workflow with UNIFI, but we've brought this up with our product team for a future enhancement. Once the family opens in Revit, the type catalog is not automatically attached. Note how the family types read Use Type Catalog. Now, this is an easy enough fix. On the Insert tab, you can import family types, and Revit will direct you to where the type catalog was automatically downloaded to your app data folder. And with the nested download in the app data folder, updating the type catalog and family directly would definitely be cumbersome. So this video picks up where we left off, attaching the type catalog to the Revit family we wish to edit. Now, we don't want to keep the name Use Type Catalog. So really what we're going to end up choosing is to delete the existing family types and import new types. Now that my family has been edited, it is time to save it. So, sorry, real quick here with this. I am going to verify, of course, that all of my types here were brought in. Now, let's pretend that I did go ahead and edit this particular family. Now, I do have to re-export the type catalog. So I'm just going to go to Export here, select Family Types, and I'm not going to save it back to my app data folder. I've gone ahead and created a folder on my desktop where I'll be able to go ahead and save out this type catalog. And I'm going to go ahead and, of course, do that to my Revit family as well. So careful not to push it into the app data folder, but desktop and then the type catalog updates folder I created here. So now I've gone ahead and clicked save. So at this point now, I simply go back into UNIFI and I'll go ahead and drag and drop that family, much like you saw before. Now this one is a little bit unique and it shows off that latest feature because this family does already exist. My new export was done in 2021. So UNIFI will be using that new type catalog in addition to that new base file for the version, let's say, of 2022. Now, let's dig deeper into how we are sometimes editing the family. Could we edit the family manually, like we kind of touched on before? Well, yes, of course. But in a family with tens, even perhaps hundreds of types, that's a lot of changes to make. And I'm going to pretend for just a second that there aren't any add-ins out there that could edit these parameters in batch for today. But if you're interested in what they may be, just ask in the Q&A. The type catalog now we've established is definitely a text file, and that means I can edit parameter values directly in a program like Notepad. Now, I've never been much of a data person, but this seems like even if you were, it could be a pain to edit. And there's definitely an easier way. And I actually like to edit all my text files I need for my Revit environment in the exact same way, even shared parameter files. But first, let's understand what we're looking at. Take a closer look at the top row. These provide information on the parameter name, type of parameter, and the units of the parameter. Now, back to our text file. These parameters are wrapping in Notepad, and I fear one misplaced comma and my data will be completely wrong. So this is really why many people choose to edit parameters directly within the type parameter dialog within the Revit environment. But remember what I said, there's an easier way, use Excel. So last quick video here for you. So just to show you in detail how your life can be made much easier editing text files. If you click on the Data tab, navigate to the folder where the text file is stored, and then simply select Import. Now, we also got a preview of how that information is automatically gathering. I'm using Unicode 1200, but you might want to just double check that everything looks the way that it should. And from there, I can make my changes. And now I'm just simply selecting export. That's just my preference. Save as works just as well. But now I'm going to go ahead and just save that text file back to my saved out directory. Now do note, Revit is not going to automatically pull that latest and greatest text file. You do have to manually re-import to be able to go ahead and grab that information. All right, so if I could, just a heads up, I would probably type catalog everything. Well, maybe no, not really, but I fully believe families such as casework, doors, in addition to those structural elements, columns, and detail components that Autodesk already does, should fully be controlled with type catalogs if there's more than 5 types. And if you'd like any additional tips and tricks, please check out our knowledge base. We'll have this webinar and much more on demand. You can also certainly reach out to sales@unifilabs.com or support@UNIFI. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Scott Scheipel to assist with our Q&A.
Perfect. Thanks, Karen. So just a couple of questions for today. Number one, what are some add-ins that can automatically update parameter data?
A great one out there is called Rushforth, and we're also working on a UNIFI add-in too, where we'll be able to go ahead and harness the power of our API to push changed shared parameters directly back into your Revit families without the need to re-download your content.
Awesome. And number two, how can I best optimize UNIFI to search specifically for my type catalogs?
So you could go ahead and you'll see that, of course, the UNIFI only really identifies that TC mark. Now, as you go to use more and more type catalogs, it might be a good idea to utilize a tagging convention, or my personal preference always is to harness the power of data. So I would add a parameter that signifies that the use of a type catalog is required for that particular family, just in case it ever got disconnected.
Okay, great. Sounds good. And we did have just one more come in here. How do I upload a 2021 type catalog when there is only a 2019 family base upload? I don't want to keep different versions of a family in a source folder for future edits. That misses on the cloud upgrade benefit.
Okay, so one of the items I had mentioned previously, and I think I can go back to that screen actually. So this was the fun fact I had kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. So this is the case where it looks like I have that older base year happening and UNIFI is automatically upgrading. So because of our ability to upgrade in the cloud and this very small item that needed to occur here, I actually don't have to go ahead and download this 2021 file and re-upload it. UNIFI has automatically actually updated that family for you. So if I go to this next slide here, that update wasn't manually done, but here I am working in 2021 and I no longer have that blank type catalog. So you could go ahead and just download that base file if you wanted and re-upload it. But again, there's no need for you to do anything on your end. We have done that programmatically.
Okay, lovely. And Karen, just to follow up to that, what about the units change for pound force?
The units change for ComForce? I
For
might have to get back with you on that. I'm a little unfamiliar with what you might be talking about.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll tell you what, for the panel or for the attendee who had mentioned that, we'll be sure to go ahead and follow up with you offline and schedule some additional time to ensure that we can go ahead and knock that off for you.
That'd be perfect.
Lovely. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining. Really appreciate the time. As Karen mentioned, we will go ahead and talk to everyone again during our next session, which is on August 11th at 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern, and this will focus on Enscape and material management. With that being said, everyone have a great rest of the day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.